Township Council to order.
This meeting is being held in accordance with Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice has been provided in the manner prescribed by law. This agenda is complete to the extent known, and formal action will be taken. I'll begin with a roll call. Councilman Nadell?
Here.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Here.
Councilman Rubel?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Fisher is absent this evening. Mayor Leggio?
Here.
Thank you.
Mr. Gross, any reason to go into executive session, sir?
Yes, we do.
Resolution R 25-302.
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. I'll begin with the roll call. Yes. Councilman Nadell?
Here.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Here.
Councilman Rubel?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Fisher is absent this evening. Mayor Leggio?
Here.
Thank you.
Would everyone please rise for his pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
There's a presentation for this evening for the Angie Ritchie Environmental Award to the Howell Organic Community Garden. For those members, can you come up? You'll be presenting?
They're going to say something.
Hello. Hey, Rick from the garden. Nice to meet you. Maria. How are you? It's Andrew. Rick.
Nice to see you.
How are you? I don't know if I can reach it. Hello? This work.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Hickey, and I am going to give this award along with Chris, and he'll be speaking in just a minute. The Howell Environmental Commission is proud to present the 2025 Angie Ritchie Environmental Award to the Howell Organic Community Garden. The commission recognizes the garden's outstanding commitment to sustainability, community engagement, and food donation, providing more than 1,304 pounds of fresh produce to the senior center and local food pantries. These efforts have made a meaningful and measurable impact on the Howell community.
By addressing environmental challenges and expanding access to fresh, healthy food, the Howell Organic Community Garden continues to enrich the lives of its members and residents today, while cultivating a healthier, more sustainable community for generations to come. Thank you for your commitment to the Howell community and our environment.
Moving on, may I have a motion for the acceptance of minutes of October 21st, 2025?
I'll make a motion to accept October 21st, 2025, regular and exec.
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you.
Reports from township department officials? Mr. Gross?
None this evening.
Caitlin?
None from legal.
I actually have a bunch, sorry.
Go ahead.
All right, we are seeking volunteers for various boards and committees for 2026. Please apply by December 1st on our website. Also, Howell Township will be forwarding letters addressed to Santa. Please get your letters in by December 5th. We have a new law regarding legal notices on government internet websites, and we will now be posting them on our website in lieu of official newspapers. You can now view them on our website's main page under public notices. We also have the Christmas tree lighting ceremony Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025, here at Town Hall from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Howell Adopt a Family, gift drop-off dates and times, or December 4th and 5th, you can contact Stephen Fetcher. And then we have the menorah lighting on Tuesday, December 16th, here at Town Hall at 5:30 p.m. with hot drinks and pastries. That's it.
Moving on to a hearing of citizens, public comment.
Each person shall first give their name and address to the clerk. The council should be addressed as a collective body and not as individual members. Each person shall have one turn to address the council, and comments shall not exceed a total of 5 minutes. Speakers shall be notified when their time has run, and no time extension shall be permitted.
Tony C., 388 Aldridge Road.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. My name is Tony Cherovino, 388 Aldridge Road, and tonight I'm once again addressing the township, but also as well as including our township manager regarding the failure to comply with the New Jersey speed limit laws on Aldridge Road. After more than a year of documented concerns, it's now necessary to put the township on formal notice. Aldridge Road is out of compliance with the law. NJSA 394-98. Residential speed limits must follow statutory limits unless there's been a valid engineering study proving a different speed is warranted. And JAC 1640-3.1, no township in New Jersey may establish or maintain or enforce a speed limit without a current and legally compliant engineering study. Aldridge Road does not have that study. The last traffic review was done more than 15 years ago and is obsolete, invalid, and cannot be used as a justification for the 40-mile-per-hour speed limit. The current limit is not legally established, not compliant with the law, and not enforceable under this New Jersey statute. This is not my opinion, this is the law. Aldridge Road has increased traffic volume, different residential patterns, increased pedestrian and school bus activity, multiple blind hills, narrow shoulders, hundreds of driveways and intersections, and experiences frequent safety complaints. The outdated traffic study is legally meaningless. It does not satisfy the state requirements, and it cannot not override state law. For 12 months, I brought this forward. I've documented safety hazards, near misses, aggressive speeding incidents, pedestrian risks, school bus safety concerns, and clear legal citations requiring action. It remains unsafe and out of compliance with the state. The Township Council has agreed, but I understand certain people want to have the engineering study completed first to justify it. The process is confused. The engineering study is done prior to raising the speed limit, not lowering it. The refusal to correct an illegally posted speed limit is not only poor judgment call, it's a failure in duty and a violation of the statutory responsibilities this township carries. After 12 months of presented data, accident analysis, emails, police reports, the township is proposing to wait another year to put out the bid for an engineering study to justify to speeders why it's unsafe to go over 25 miles per hour on a residential street. It does not make any sense. We don't need to pay $50,000 to what common sense will already tell us. I don't want to wait another year for this. I'm not going to wait for somebody else to get hit by a car. I'm not going to wait for another accident. I'm not going to wait for a death. There's a legal responsibility here by this township. If you wish to conduct an engineering study to justify the speeding drivers, that's fine. You're welcome to do so. But until that's done, the law is crystal clear. The posted limit has to be 25 miles an hour. Delays, excuses, stalling, no longer meets the standard of reasonable municipal conduct. If you choose not to raise it in the next 14 days, I will file complaints with the New Jersey Department of Transportation, Bureau of Engineering, the New Jersey Office of State Comptroller, and I will cite all these laws: the failure to perform mandatory statutory duties, negligence in addressing a dangerous situation, and administrative action and leadership. I will request a direct investigation into the township's noncompliance. These are laws that were put into place. I'm not threatening, I'm only giving a lawful remedy that is available to every New Jersey resident when their township refuses to comply with the state safety statutes. The time for delay is past. Aldridge Road is unsafe, it's unlawfully posted, and the township has failed to act for more than a year. It's now the responsibility of this township and obligation under law to correct the speed limit immediately. I will be drafting my letters, and on the day 15 they will go out. I thank you for your time.
Mike Moyer.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Mike Moyer, 20 Beacon Drive. I am here tonight to address the increasing safety concerns in our neighborhoods following the assault that occurred on November 17th, just before 5 p.m., when a mother walking with her 2-year-old child was attacked. One of the most troubling issues for residents is the delay in public notification. The community was not informed until several hours later, around 10 or 11 p.m. Timely alerts are critical. Faster communication could have helped identify the suspect and may have prevented additional risk to families that evening. We are now 8 days past this incident, and both families and the community still have no answers. That uncertainty has caused fear and frustration, especially for families. As a father of a 5-year-old son and a fiance, I understand this concern on a personal level. My family enjoys going for walks and bike rides in our neighborhood. These are simple activities that families should feel completely safe doing, but right now, many do not. What was once a quiet, family-friendly town is beginning to feel unpredictable, and residents are understandably uneasy. I respectfully urge the council to take steps that directly address neighborhood public safety, provide rapid and transparent communication about public safety incidents, increase police visibility in residential areas, parks, and walking routes, especially during times when children and families are outside. Improving lighting, surveillance, and other deterrents in areas frequently used by residents. Strengthen neighborhood watch efforts and community safety awareness. Our neighborhoods should be places where families feel secure, not fearful. With proactive measures, we can restore the sense of safety that Howell Township has always been known for. Thank you for your time and for listening to our concerns of the families who we call Howell.
Mr. Frodell.
Greg Vodale, 8 Petal Patch Trail. Good evening, council. I know recent ordinances had to be passed on rentals prior to the township acting on my topic that I denoted on June 24th. As I noted then, the inspection frequency is set to annual right now. I propose that once the township is alerted of a concern at a property, I believe inspections should occur as often as 3 months until the landlord has sold the property. In addition, those increased inspections should be at all properties owned by that landlord or LLC. I raised this again at the meeting on August 12th, and interim township attorney Bennett stated that she looked at it, but it was a manpower issue. She was going to look at a biannual inspection, and that's why the mercantile ordinance was added. So I just want to get an update on where that is right now. It's been a few months since then, and I want to just know if any progress has been made. Thank you, and have a good Thanksgiving.
Paula.
Good evening, Paula. Good evening, Paula Samarel, Heritage Point, 2 Driftwood Drive. I have a question for the council. Does Howell Township Ordinance O-22-21 and O-22-22 regulate neighborhood home houses of worship? While I respect the fact that home houses of worship conveniently provide religious and spiritual services within one's neighborhood, I can't help but feel that public safety issues are not being addressed in these mixed-use occupancy homes. Even as far back as 2016, the New Jersey Department of Consumer Affairs put a bulletin out encouraging code officials to exercise caution when carrying out inspections of church buildings, houses of worship, and mixed-use occupancy homes so as not to jeopardize the health, safety, and welfare of the public. Even the Supreme Court has ruled on houses of worship in residential communities and speaks of the need for consideration being given for the public good as well as the need for occupancy limits. Should these mixed-use occupancy homes providing worship services be looked at as residential or more appropriately as public houses of worship and be regulated by town ordinances as well as fire codes? In my neighborhood, which started out as a small, intimate group of neighbors walking to attend worship services in a renovated garage, attendance has greatly increased. This increase is the result from congregants living outside my neighborhood attending the worship services there, as evidenced by the steady stream of cars parked in the surrounding streets of this particular multi-use house. The additional influx of cars causing numerous traffic safety issues, including obstruction of traffic flow and visibility, impeding fire trucks from having clear passage, curb-to-curb snow plowing is impossible due to vehicles parked on the street overnight on Fridays. Blocked access may prevent ambulances from parking in front of the residence of those needing medical attention, potentially increasing emergency response time. Sad to say, some of the congregants living outside the neighborhoods do not care about the traffic and parking hazards that they bring. A comment was made to me, "There's plenty of public parking." My reply to him was, "This is not a public parking lot. This is a residential neighborhood." Fortunately, this is not the case with all the congregants, especially those that live within my neighborhood and respect their neighbors. I can't help but wonder if the organizers of home houses of worship, as well as those congregants living outside the neighborhood, are losing sight of its main goal, to be able to worship together within walking distance in one's own neighborhood. The organizers should be present at all worship services and need to take responsibility to ensure that the safety and well-being of the congregants as well as surrounding neighbors is maintained. Considerations must be given to future issues when establishing a home house of worship in a residential neighborhood that was only meant to accommodate a normal amount of residents living there and their occasional guests. Perhaps transportation should be provided by the organizer for those that live too far away to walk to a service as a way to control traffic safety issues. Overnight lodging offered at some houses of worship and overnight street parking could be eliminated if congregants that do not live within walking distance would attend a service in their own neighborhood, or better yet, offer one in their own home. I know that my neighborhood is not the only one that is experiencing these public safety issues, and I hope the mayor, town council, and the organizers of our neighborhood home houses of worship can work together in accomplishing a common goal, keeping public safety as well as religious practices in balance. Although the African proverb and a book written by Hillary Clinton, "It Takes a Village," refers to child rearing, I feel that in any instance where there's a need for a greater sense of community, this phrase says it all. By the way, I would like to extend my support of the town's opposition to Bill S-4736. It's really just another example of our legislators helping investors skirt around tax obligations through pilot programs whose durations are excessive and reduce revenue to schools and property taxes. This bill basically takes the control out of the hands of the people that we voted in to regulate zoning and master plans, and shows a total disregard for the best interest of New Jersey communities. These investors play a big part in these affordable housing shortage crisis by buying up homes and renting them out at unaffordable rates. Am I the only one that can see this? This needs to stop. Thank you.
Anyone else from the public? Yeah. Go ahead, sir.
Come on. I want you to sound like you're excited.
Sorry if my enthusiasm since I've been elected
You
has
know what? I'm not
diminished.
enthusiastic either. I'm pretty disappointed, to be honest.
Your name and address for the record?
Yeah, I'm Richard Krug, Krug.
Thank you.
And 4 Sammy Drive.
Thank you.
So I want to inform you that not much has changed with my issue with the base medrash that's across the street from me. And I really don't know what you guys are doing to help me because I don't see anything being done. Last night at 11:20, all I heard was car doors slamming in front of my house. I got 3 dogs in the house. And what I'm about to tell you is ironic and funny, but it's true. If you'd like to swear me in, I'd be glad for you to do it, okay? I went outside, put my pants on first, because I know that's a problem. We got people running around without their pants. And I spoke to a guy who was getting into his car, who slammed his car door. I said, hey, it's now 11:25, because I'm out here, and there was about 8 or 9 cars up and down the street. And I had called the Howell police, and I told them I'll be waiting for you outside. So I had, what was his name? Officer, I forgot his name. What's his name? Chandler, sorry. Officer Chandler met me out there, and he witnessed the activity that's going on. And he said, well, what's your biggest concern? I said, well, it's the activity and the noise associated with the activity. But prior to him showing up, I had a discussion with one of the guys parked in front of my house. And he said to me, what's the issue? I said, the issue is the noise and the activity. I have 3 dogs, they're barking, it's disruptive to me, I can't sleep. And he said, well, the dogs don't like the activity? And I said, no, they don't. They're watchdogs and they're doing their job. And he said, well, maybe he doesn't like us because he doesn't know us. So we could fix the problem by converting the dog to a Jewish dog. And although he may think that that's very funny, I don't find it funny at all. I find it insulting, okay? The fact of the matter is, it's an R3 development, okay? I'm tired of the name game and calling it this, and it's a house of prayer, and it's not a house. There is no legitimate home chapel, okay? It does not exist. If you and I go to the Catholic Church and we hear something in there, and I go, wow, it's very interesting. Mayor, why don't you come to my house? We'll talk. We'll sit in my living room and make tea, and we'll talk about the Bible passage. That's fine, but that's not what's going on here. These are full-blown services with the requirements that they have mandated of a minimum of 10 people there, and if they don't, they're going to be looking for somewhere else to go that night. But they got to get that in. They have to have 10 people there. So nobody seems to think that it's bothersome. Friday night had a similar situation with a guy. Believe it or not, one of the men is the guy that filed that incident report on me. And I just had a feeling it was him. And I said, you're not the man down the street who filed that incident report, are you? I could be. I said, well, why did you do that? Because I don't even know who you are. Nobody's threatened you, made any statements of harm to you or discrimination. And you said that in your report. Well, I was pressured by one of your town's code officials to file that report, because he instructed me that if I'm not comfortable with anything that's going on, I should always call the police and always file the report. So now I have basically a false statement there by him that's now been recorded. And incidentally, maybe somebody could explain that to me. I'm kind of looking at you because I know you're an officer. When the officer came last night, I said, you know, we had another issue. He goes, I know all about it. I already read the report. Now, I don't know if he had time to read 2 pages, but I'm assuming on the drive over there, maybe that information, recent complaints, have been provided to him, but he was fully aware of that statement, which I thought is, I was told by everybody, including the courts here, that it means nothing. So I don't know what to do anymore. I mean, what are we going to do? That's my question. are we going to continue to allow illegal assembly use groups to take place
Thank you,
here?
Richard. Your time has ended.
Okay, very good. We'll see what happens.
Good evening, Mark Parisi, 2 Castle Court. Just a couple things before I talk about what I want to talk about. I wanted to acknowledge that Mr. Ron Cucciaro passed away. Ron, I think served this town for, correct me if I'm wrong, over 20 years. He was the planning board attorney. Councilwoman O'Donnell, is that correct? It's over 20 years? Yes. I've had my disagreements with Ron over the years, but Ron provided a public service to this community for over 2 decades, and he was always a gentleman. He was always professional. We could sit there and argue with each other, and then afterwards we'd stand in the hallway, we'd shake hands, and we'd talk. I send my condolences to everybody that knew Ron and worked with him, and it's really sad that he passed away so young. I also want to welcome back Caitlin. I hope you and your family are well. And Diane, it's my understanding you are retiring at the end of December.
Yes.
I expect to be here at the next meeting, but if I'm not, I want to thank you for your work here with the community as well.
Thank you.
So tonight I want to talk, also I wanted to acknowledge Mayor Leggio. Mayor, I go to a lot of council meetings. It's been a year now that you've been sitting up there chairing these meetings, and I just want to acknowledge it. I think you're doing a great job. It's not easy being in that position. I appreciate your candor and your ability to communicate with the residents in a way that I think people relate to. So keep up the good work. And I want to acknowledge Councilman Rubel. Congratulations on winning your election for the 1 year. All right? Thank you. I think you're doing a good job as well.
Appreciate it.
Tonight I want to talk about the waste transfer station. I've followed the litigation because I'm a nerd. But I just want to read a couple passages just by way of history. After the town reached a settlement agreement in January of '24, the people that own the waste transfer station went to the county for, a request for inclusion into the solid waste management plan. Then it went to the county commissioners, who are the ones that, have ultimate say over these projects and our solid waste management plan. I trust that the commissioners at the county level understand the solid waste management plan of the county much better than we do at a municipal level. They ultimately denied that project. And I have the resolution with the reasons why they denied it. I'm going to try to read just a couple sections of it. I can email it to you guys if you haven't already seen it. The applicant has failed to submit testimony or evidence demonstrating a need for inclusion of the project, a solid waste transfer station intended to process Type 13 and Type 13C solid waste within the context of the overall management of solid waste in the county under the solid waste management plan. The applicant did not present testimony or evidence addressing a perceived need for additional processing capacity for this type of waste in the solid waste management plan, whether a need exists for a particular type of facility or processing capacity for a certain waste type under the solid waste plan is entirely different from whether a potential business opportunity may or may not exist if a new facility is permitted. It then goes on to say, the findings contained in the applicant's traffic study are rejected as they are based upon an average of 80 truck trips per day and do not address peak traffic conditions using the maximum number of anticipated truck trips. Numerous members of the public filed written objections about this. A review of the applicant's traffic study confirms that the conclusions reached are based upon an average of 80 truck trips per day. This methodology is inconsistent with the county's plan amendment procedures, which require traffic studies supporting an application to consider both the average and maximum number of truck trips. The applicant has projected several truck count scenarios and total traffic count scenarios that do not match the available data. It talks about if it is conservatively assumed that each incoming roll of truck contained 6 tons of material, it would take 167 trucks per day to bring in 1,000 tons of waste. This far exceeds the represented average of 80 truck trips per day and reinforces the concern that the applicant's traffic study is not representative of actual peak traffic conditions at the proposed facility. The testimony and evidence presented fails to provide satisfactory assurance that the proposed facility will not accept waste from outside of Monmouth County. Then it goes on to explain inconsistencies between their representations regarding waste coming in from Ocean County. I won't bore you with all of that. I will email it to you. Talks about complying with the settlement agreement, and then it ends, and if you just give me 10 seconds.
No,
Thank you, Diane.
no.
The applicant further
Your
testified.
time has ended. Thank you.
Mayor, can I have 30 seconds, please?
Mark?
Not permitted to extend, Mayor.
They're not permitted. Okay. Well, I appreciate your time, but ultimately, what it just says is that.
Thank you, Mark.
It's inconsistent
Mark.
with what was said here. Thank you. I hope you guys take a new position on this.
Good evening, council members and township professionals, and my fellow citizens. My name is Larry White. I reside at 15 Wren Way. So in the spirit of giving thanks in this Thanksgiving season, I'm here tonight to give you folks thanks for the resolution tonight that will create a recreational advisory committee for the township. This is something we asked for at the beginning of the year, that some of these boards and commissions that have been retired or defunct be revived, and also to address quality of life issues within the township. This resolution will do both of those things, and I thank you and commend you for it. Ms. Festino, thank you so much for your service. I hope you enjoy your retirement as much as I am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, James Gerard Jr., 44 Arrowwood Court. My question has to do with something I became aware of just recently, and that's about this Howell 360 project. Are you aware of that, the Howell 360 project, a proposed bunch of apartment buildings that to be built off Route 9, and on the back end of it would be Fort Plains Road? Is everybody familiar with that project? Has that been approved? Is that project approved? I know it goes back a while, but I just recently heard about it. We recently fought off some warehouses to be built near Fort Plains Road in March of this year, and I was just curious if those 10 buildings, if those Project 360 has been approved by the board, by the council.
We'll answer your questions at the end.
Oh,
So you
okay,
can,
so
yeah,
this
you
is
can,
coming
yeah,
up?
keep talking, and then we'll answer.
Okay. All right. The concern that I think a number of people that live certainly in Tuscana have is that Fort Plains Road is a very, very neighborly, rural-type road, but it would back up against all these new buildings. So the concern is, I assume there's entrances and exits coming on Route 9, but there's a big concern about all the additional traffic that would be on Fort Plains Road, and where it's located. If you go down towards Walgreens, that's a tough corner. And then if you go to West Farms Road or Fort Plains, that's even worse. So you've got those issues that I think have to be, attention needs to be brought to them. And maybe the biggest one is I heard that this is like a trust pilot program where whatever the builder is going to wind up paying in taxes will go directly to the municipality, with no money of those taxes being allocated to schools. And I mean the existing schools, not building new schools. The concern is, if you've got 360 units, and even if there's only one child per unit that's going to a school in Howell Township, where is that money coming from to pay for the additional students? Does that fall on the shoulders of the backs of the people that live in Howell to adopt those 300-plus people? Just a question I have, because I think that's a concern as well. Those are my issues. I appreciate your help in answering those. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening, body. Good evening, Mayor Leggio. I'm Daniel Francisco. I'm the mayor in Englishtown, New Jersey, 7 Harrison. I've had the pleasure of meeting the mayor a handful of times. Want to show my appreciation for Resolution 293. That concept of refunding carry permits was born in this county, born in my borough. We were the first municipality to do it in the state. I can tell you that I made a trip to Knoxville, Tennessee, back in August for a Gun Owners of America conference. New Jersey was the talk of the town at that entire conference. All they talked about was this nullification scheme that many municipalities were engaging in across our state. And there's been some great groups that have been helping with that. Some of them are here present today. So I want to extend my gratitude that this body is willing to engage in this and giving back some of that value to your residents. I'm going to nitpick just a little bit. I suspect I know where the thought process was born from, but, and I know that the resolution is put in on the agenda as a $125 refund. The only analogy that I'd like to make is that on the grounds of other constitutional issues, primarily First Amendment, right? So when we engage in having a fee for a right of self-defense per se, what we're essentially saying to our public is that your safety, that you're allowed to engage in your self-protection if you subscribe for a fee. That is essentially what the state is trying to tell us as a legislative body in the state to our municipalities. I would just say if we were to take a look at this and compare it to First Amendment issues, the 5 rights guaranteed in the First Amendment, one of them is religion. If Trenton's legislature got together and said that, hey, if you want to go to church, to mosque, to temple, you've got to subscribe for a $150 fee every 2 years, go through a check, and if you go and deliver that to your state government and subsequently to your municipal body, you will be able to go worship at your house of choice. Or if you had the right to speak at a protest or assemble or petition your government for a redress of grievances like everyone here is doing today. I would just keep that in mind as you consider voting on this resolution. I think it would be more fair and equitable to everybody if it was a complete refund. I'm not going to be without gratitude. I appreciate that you're considering it for most of it, but I would just keep that in your hearts and in your minds that this probably will be part of litigation in the future. And more than likely, this and many other laws in the state of New Jersey will be overturned on constitutional grounds, of which I'm a part of multiple federal cases where we're trying to overturn that. So I don't want to be too cynical. I've always had a great experience speaking with Mayor Leggio. Very happy to see him assume the seat in the last year. Appreciate that your body took on this measure. I would just implore that maybe you consider that extra $25. I suspect that it's usually voices from within the municipality that argue against doing a full refund. And just remember also this last point. Prior to December 2022, when the colloquial carry killer bill was instituted at the state level, the case that informed the legislature on writing that bill that includes that $200 fee was my case in Monmouth County Superior Court, born out of Francisco v. Cook, that ended up in federal court. They took my decision from the Superior Court and modeled their entire law, including that $200 fee, off of my court order. So this is sadly, and I'm not speaking to the municipality, I'm speaking to Trenton here. This was born in Monmouth County. I'm very proud that the nullification of this process started in Monmouth County. I'm even more proud that you're the second municipality to engage in this in the county. There should be many, many, many more. So even though I would have liked to see the full fee refunded, I want to extend my gratitude and the fact that you guys are looking out for your residents and at least not making them pay an insanely exorbitant fee for something that is a complete natural right that should not be up for subscription, should not be behind a paywall. So thank you to the governing body. Thank you to Mayor Leggio for putting that on the agenda. I hope at the very least that you pass 293. Thank you.
Anyone else? I'm seeing none. Make a motion to close public.
Motion to close public.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Gross or Caitlin?
I'll jump in on the first commenter regarding the speeding on Aldrich Road and the process for changing speed limits. While I do have the sites he provided, I do recommend that if there's any modification of speed limits on our roadways, that we have a full traffic study to support that. Any sort of change in speed limits need to be supported by data that we can point to support our decision. So I believe it's already been in the talks that we are going that way with starting a traffic study, but the basis of needing it is legally recommended by the township.
Just to add to that, I have directed the township engineer to obtain quotes for a study for Aldrich Road end to end, and hope to have that forthcoming very, very soon. In terms of the question of public notification, I will, from the recent incident, the assault incident, I'll be having conversations with the chief about our notification process, and I will report back to you on that. In terms of, I guess, there was a number of comments, I guess, about congestion on our roadways subsequent to people congregating in particular residential locations. We're actually looking at that issue and seeing what remedies there may or may not be in reference to that, and hope to have something back to the council on that shortly. Reference to the Howell 360 question, my understanding is that that project itself has been approved, was approved by the planning board, and there is ordinances on this evening to address that particular project, but as of right now, it has not been fully approved. And I think that's it.
And just touching on a couple of others that I was making notes on. I know that there was a question regarding increasing rental inspections from annually to once every 3 months. I do believe that's still a manpower issue that we have. Our code department right now has thousands of rentals that they have to inspect. But I will caveat, it's an annual inspection unless there is a change of tenancy. If there is a change of tenancy, that does trigger a new inspection that has to occur. So I think that's an update as to that. Yeah, as far as the Howell 360, the approvals that are in place are the planning board approvals. What's in front of us tonight on an ordinance introduction is the pilot, so that's a payment in lieu of taxes. And that's the introduction of an ordinance, that is not the adoption of the ordinance, and that can be later in the meeting.
Howell?
Yes. Again, one of the residents spoke about the passing of Ron Cachero. I'm sure this council extends its full condolences to the entire family, his wife and children. I'll also like to extend my personal condolences to Lisa Dowd. We understand she lost her dad. Lisa is an avid volunteer with our Shade Tree, our environmental, the Annie Ritchie company. I don't know that there's a committee out there that Lisa hasn't touched in one way or another, so we're very sorry to hear about her dad. Also, I would like to bring back the idea to our administration about dangerous trees in our town. Although we have trimmed trees and almost never taken a tree down, we certainly have quite a variety of trees that are leaning. They're in the way of power lines. I know JCP&L does their infamous, they cut the middle of the tree out because that's where the line is. So then 5 years later, the part of the tree hanging over the road falls into the road. The other half falls into the neighbor's property, wherever that tree's growing. My point is that I'd like to get back on a schedule of perhaps quarterly devoting a certain amount of budgetary money so that we can send out our own crew. We do have DPW, and they do have a cherry picker. They have gentlemen involved in our DPW that are qualified to trim trees, remove trees, and I think we have to take a very hard look at some of the things that are happening, especially most of our roads are old farm roads, and we definitely have a problem. Never does a storm go by that on my road of Casino Drive, my small portion, that we're out there pulling tree limbs, and I'm not just talking about small branches, 8, 10, 12 feet long limbs out of the road because they've fallen into the road. And the first time a car is going by and this falls on the car, we won't have to worry about a dead tree. We're going to have someone severely injured, or perhaps we're going to lose someone in their car, and I don't want to see that happen. Secondly, I would like to discuss, we do have the fund for preservation, and also it's a fund that is dedicated to historic, and this is a penny on the tax dollar. I think we're up to, 3 cents now for that collection on the tax bill. And I'd like to start looking at some preservation of our properties. We have a couple of things in town that have been restored. I know the Historic Society, the Mackenzie House, we have the schoolhouse that can always use a helping hand financially to keep some of these buildings in better repair. They have restored the Mackenzie House twice now, and I urge people to go take a look at it. It's just beautiful inside. And most of that, not most, all of that has been done by volunteers, money out of their pockets, and getting things donated. So I would think that it's time for us to start looking at putting some of this money where we can at least save some of the things that are left in Howell. We've lost a lot of sites because it wasn't maintained, but we have a group now that is active in maintaining things, and I think that we have to start looking seriously at what we can do to help ensure the history of Howell. So I'm going to meet with the manager, and see what possibilities there are, what we can do, and then he'll run it by the full council, and let's see if we can get something in place to be proactive and restorative and to keep things in good shape that represent Howell Township. Thank you.
Mike? Yeah.
So a few things I want to discuss tonight. First will be with regard to Resolution 293, the refund of the permit fees. I'd like to thank Mayor Francisco for coming down and for being the first one in the county to adopt a similar resolution to this, and for also stealing everything I was going to say. So the Second Amendment is the only amendment that seems to be under repeated attack, especially in the state of New Jersey. First Amendment, you're not taxed on third, fourth, fifth. No, you're not paying any of these fees. So why something that provides an equal right under the Constitution have to have these exorbitant taxes and fees attached to it? So as a Second Amendment supporter myself, and along with the rest of the council, I hope to have this passed tonight. And we did come down to that $25 The portion that the township does keep is due to the fact that FOID cards are typically a $25 fee, as well as handgun purchase permits are a $25 fee, which require a similar amount of administrative processing, which is permitted constitutionally. However, in my opinion, it's still $25 too many for each of these. But, you know, we're doing what we can. So, like to just show that Howell will push back on certain issues where it comes to really affect our safety, quality of life that come out of the state with poor laws and attack the rights of our citizens. The other item I'd like to discuss is e-bikes. So, a little over a week ago, a boy that I know in town was struck by an e-bike crossing a driving lane through a strip mall. Spoke to the child's father the other day. E-bike was traveling maybe 20 miles an hour. Driver wearing all black, no lights on the e-bike. Launched his child about 15 feet. Child landed on his head, showed me the pictures, and it's not something any parent wants to see. I know this boy, I coached him in some sports a few years ago, and coincidentally, this man's wife and child's mom is a nurse in an area hospital, and she has relayed the information that a lot of the injuries now coming into ERs are related to these e-bikes, whether it's drivers of the e-bikes being struck by vehicles, e-bike striking pedestrians, e-bike riders crashing into cars, injuring drivers, passengers, and we need to do something on our level to regulate these e-bikes, however it fits in with the best course of the way our town is structured. I'm going to ask Mr. Gross and Caitlin to look into that, which I know you're doing some research already. But safety is a top priority, so other municipalities have already put in some regulation on these e-bikes, and some have even outright banned them and banned their use in their towns. So whatever best fits a town of our size, a town of our character, roadways, I'd like to see something done to protect the safety of everybody with regard to the growing number of these e-bikes on the roads. That's it.
That's it. All right, just to piggyback with Ian, as far as the e-bike ordinance, that we will be coming up with something. I remember when I was a kid in town, I had a little moped, and there was strict rules. We're going back 1985, 86, 87, and the moped had to have a plate on it. Had to have a helmet. And I remember back then, police department was a lot smaller back then, but if we were screwing around, we did get pulled over and brought back to our parents' house. But these e-bikes, because of some of their speeds and the way they maneuver, they definitely should be put into some kind of class. And whatever the state and the county and whatever we could get done to provide a level of safety to our residents, traveling on the roads, and then to the residents that are riding on them to protect themselves. I think they should all be anything that's at 15, 20 miles an hour should have a plate on it, should have a tail light, a headlight, and helmets should be enforced. So that's something with the police department that we'd have to work with for them to do the enforcement on that. Just like kids on regular bikes are supposed to have helmets, under a certain age. So we are moving forward with getting something like that, piggybacking off of some of the other towns that are dealing with a lot of those concerns. Starting with Tony, Tony, Ian and I did come to your house that time. We spent about a half hour with you and your wife and your father-in-law looking at the traffic pattern over there. And, I live right around the corner from you, and so does Mike. We're right there, and we're on that road all the time. And I'm not disagreeing with you that there should be something done. It's out of my pay purview as far as this study that needs to get done and whether the speed limit's going to get dropped, okay? We have a lot of legal stuff to deal with, okay? And that's where it starts. And with all the stuff that you had said when you came up here, 15 days, and you do whatever you need to do, sir. You're a resident, you want to file whatever you need to file. But the council up here, we're going to take direction from the township manager and legal as far as what's going to get done over there. So I really don't want to spend 50, 60 grand on a study. So to tell you the truth, it's for taxpayer money. But if it has to be done a certain way to get to a certain point, even though that's not the way you presented it, then it's in our legal hands, okay? I'm not gonna go back and forth with you, Tony, okay? It's just, all right? So that's that. Mike Moyer, you're in private security, you live around the block from me, all right? I was upset that night about that, okay? We have bad people running around all over the state of New Jersey and all the rest of the country, all right? As far as communication, when it's a police matter, it's, these guys have to respond to the scene, set a parameter, get their information, and, all the residents want this quick response from the police department. We don't want residents interfering with the police department, but we also want residents to be informed of what's going on. Of course, Mike, I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. But there has to be a fine line on what the police department's going to give up on information and what they're going to need to do to get their job done too. All right? The next day and the following day, I went over to that particular roadway, and I drove around up and down those cul-de-sacs and up and down those side streets, and I'm not going to lie to you, I was looking for that individual, because I would have loved to jump out of my truck and violate his rights like he violated that woman's rights that was walking her baby, okay? And I'll say it on record right now, if I would have seen the individual, I would have put that low-life piece of shit that he is, okay, in a chokehold and threw him on the ground like he did to that poor woman, okay? But we have to have our police department do their job. And, I know residents aren't happy sometimes with the responses from the department, but that's, we're talking about all sorts of other stuff that gets involved. And we don't need no rogue people leaving their house, running over to a street and interfering with the cops and all sorts of stuff that could happen, in a case like that. So, that's it with that. Mr. Fodor, I understand your frustration, sir. All right, we are also going to possibly be moving forward with a registry. We have legal checking this out that just got adopted in another town. We really do have something good here that we have already on the books. But if it has to not have to go through the clerk's office with Oprah's to find out all that other stuff, that would give the clerk's office actually a sigh of relief as far as people calling for information or just going on the computer real quick. Okay. That's going to be another tool we put in the box to try to handle these rentals, okay? I know you're frustrated, sir. I'm frustrated with you, all right? Paula, same thing with these houses of worship. What's legal and what's not legal, what can be done, what can't be done, religious rights, it's very tricky. And we have our legal team and the professionals working on this, and we also have reached out to our Orthodox community multiple times and asked them to tell their friends and the worshipers that when they do go onto these streets, to please spread out the cars as much as possible too, so they're not blocking mailboxes or driveways or impeding on ambulances or first responders. Okay. But there is an issue with this, and it's...
And also the safety of the people attending.
Yeah.
Are those homes regulated, like regular houses, of worship, like the churches and synagogues? They're regulated by ordinance 0221 and 22, and they have to have certain fire regulations. Why don't these homes have them? Because there could be at least 30 people in a garage.
Well, Paula, this is what the town's been dealing with. It's something new here. Other surrounding towns have been dealing with it for a few years now. And for us to do it the right way and to do it legally without infringing on anyone's religious rights and stirring up a possible lawsuit, it's something we're tippy-toeing at, all right?
I'm not saying that I don't think that these houses of worship should be in the community. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is if they're here and they're here to stay, and I don't have a problem with a church being in a community or a synagogue or whatever, any type of house of worship, don't have a problem with that. But the safety issues that are coming about with 30 people being in one home, are there fire extinguishers? Are there fire exits? Are they clearly marked? Are there carbon monoxide detectors, smoke detectors? It's for the people that are attending these worship services. It's for their safety as well as
Paula, I'm not disagreeing with you, like I said. This is something new that we're dealing with. And
I'm in contact with I have several neighbors of the Hasidic community that I speak with, where, about all of these issues. If you need me to speak to them, or you need some kind of guidance or anything like that, a go-between, I am more than happy to do that.
I appreciate that, Paul. All right. So this is for Mr. Krug, too. Listen, it's the same thing, last couple meetings, sir. We've been dealing with what you have going on your block, which is almost identical to her. So we don't have to get into it anymore. You're on the same block, you're right there. Yeah, Driftwood and Sammy, yeah, so you're pretty much the same. So,
Can I just make one comment?
go ahead.
There was a disruption, I believe, Paula, was it maybe 2 weeks ago, and she came out of her house and went to the door, the man door, which replaced the garage door, and knocked on the door, and nobody came out at first, and she did it again. I was standing out there, and somebody finally opened the door, and she said, "Where is the owner of the house? Where is the owner of the house?" John Aguilera, who works for you guys, said to me, "Our problem with all of this is it's no different than a bunch of women getting together on a Wednesday night, talk and do the rosary together." It is not the same. It is not the same at all. And it's insulting to me to think it is. The man answered and said, and I quote, "I have no idea who the owner is."
So I'm going to ask if you guys can continue this conversation after the meeting. Feel free to continue with the mayor, but we're just in the middle of the meeting. We have a protocol, and we need to get back to his comments so we can continue with business.
Just like this guy, because I'm done.
As far as Mark Parisi, if this issue comes back up with this waste transfer station market, this council will address whatever happens with that, with the county, if they were to approve it, and what we would do here if we had to accept the project, because it's ultimately up to the county. It's not up to us. But there would be, I'm sure the paperwork would be.
And Mayor, just to go off the prior waste transfer litigation that we were involved in, there was a settlement agreement reached where we had a agreement established with the developer, but that situation would have only come to fruition if the county had given its blessing. Right, so.
Well, now it changed hands again supposedly, so that old agreement is, I guess, I don't know how legally that works, but that agreement would maybe have to be relooked at.
Yeah, we're still involved in the litigation
Okay.
as well, so we're a watching party.
Sure. Larry White, thank you for coming up and saying what you said. James from Arrowhead Court, like our attorney said, that project was approved, I believe, back in 23. I do not believe there's any entrance or exit on Four Plains Road. From what I remember, it's only Route 9 access, no access from the back except for a service road for maintenance. And that's been done with several other projects that are similar to that, for fire entry or DPW entry, okay? So that it would not have entry on Four Plains, because there is a stream over there. And then, thank you, Daniel, for coming from Englishtown. This is a big deal for us too, with these gun rights and, the state of New Jersey violating our rights. So it's, thanks for coming and coordinating with Ian on what you did. That's it on that. Moving on to consent agenda. Would anyone like to separate any of the items?
No.
No? So let's vote on R25-284 through R25-297. I have a motion.
Motion to move those above items?
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The consent resolutions pass.
On to Resolution R25-299.
Insertion of a special item of revenue in the 2025 budget, Chapter 159, National Opioid Settlement Funds.
Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
The resolution passes. Resolution 25-300, appropriation transfers in the 2025 municipal budget pursuant to NJSA 40A:4-58, Township of Howell, County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The resolution passes. Resolution R25-301, providing for the insertion of a special item of revenue in the 2025 budget of the Township of Howell, Chapter 159, 2025 drive sober, get pulled over, urine crackdown.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
The resolution passes.
On to unfinished business, public hearing for adoption of ordinances, starting with Diane.
Ordinance 25-42, capital ordinance providing for GIS mapping and the acquisition of various sewer utility equipment and appropriating $335,000, therefore authorized in and by the Township of Howell and the County of Monmouth, New Jersey.
Anyone from the public? I'm seeing none. I have a motion to close public.
Motion to close public?
Second.
Motion to
All in
adopt.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to adopt ordinance 25-42.
To adopt ordinance 2542.
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is adopted. Ordinance 25-43, capital ordinance providing for the acquisition of various capital vehicles and equipment and appropriating $720,000, therefore authorized in and by the Township of Howell and the County of Monmouth, New Jersey.
Anyone from the public? I'm seeing none.
Motion to close.
Motion to close.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to introduce.
Adopt.
Adopt.
Motion to adopt said ordinance?
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is adopted. Moving on with introduction of ordinances. Ordinance 0-25-45, ordinance authorizing traffic enforcement upon real property located in the township at Block 164, Lot 5.01, and at Block 144, 73.01, in accordance with the requests of the property owners.
Motion to introduce?
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is properly introduced. Ordinance 0-25-46, an ordinance authorizing the tax collector to cancel any and all taxes for the tax years 2024 and 2025 due on Block 164.03, Lot 43, owned by Ahavis Chesed Foundation pursuant to and in accordance with NJSA 54:4-3.6C.
Motion to introduce?
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is properly introduced. Ordinance 25-47, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 5 of the Township Code to establish a new recreational advisory committee within the Township of Howell.
Motion to introduce?
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is properly introduced. Ordinance 0-25-48, ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Howell to approve a tax exemption for a 30-year period and authorizing the execution of a financial agreement between the Township and Howell 360 Urban Renewal LLC for the property located at 1400 U.S. Highway 9, identified on the Township tax map as Block 137, lots 22, 23, 24, 25, and 26.
Motion to introduce?
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is properly introduced. Ordinance 0-25-49, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Article 1, the Council of the Township, of the Howell Township Code to update agenda preparation deadlines and late add-ons. Items.
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is properly introduced.
All right, our next scheduled meeting will take place on December 16th. The executive session will begin at 6 and the regular session at 7. I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving to you and your families, and enjoy this time off with them and reflect on how good you have it compared to other people in Howell Township and the rest of the country, and try to get along with your family members, even if you disagree politically, like I do with my family. So, I just thought this is a good time of year to get everyone together, and it's like, see people you haven't seen, and smile and joke around, and and talk about stuff you haven't, update the families, and I just think this is a real nice time of year, Thanksgiving, for everybody to enjoy themselves, and everyone have safe travels if you're leaving, our township. Motion to adjourn.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Motion to adjourn.
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.